Hello.
Then, now,
Bow down to the queens.
Episode number 500.
forever.
Looks like hell froze over.
Without any more further ado,
Together.
let's jump straight into the show. Hello, back at episode number, I think it's 145 of the TEW IX Challenge Run. We're here for Raw for the 5th of May 2025. It is the go-home show for Backlash. This has come around relatively quickly. But yes, tonight we haven't actually announced any matches heading into tonight. The things we announced are Logan Paul is going to be here and him and LA Knight are going to confront each other regarding this contract that Logan Paul offered him. John Cena is going to be in the house. Roman Reigns is going to be in the house addressing his face-to-face with Seth Rollins. And yeah, Shawn Michaels is here. He's going to open up the show with Bobby Roode in regards to, everything we've seen here over the past few weeks. So without any more further ado, let's jump straight into the show. The show opens up. Shawn Michaels is in the ring. He doesn't make his way out to the ring. There's no sexy boy. He's just stood in the middle of the ring. And he's got the microphone in his hand. And he's looking around the crowd. The crowd is still kind of cheering for him because he's Shawn Michaels. And he goes, well, it's it's not like I've got anywhere I need to be tomorrow. So, I figured Bobby Roode, an old friend of mine, I'd do him a favor and I'd come down to Monday Night Raw tonight. 2 weeks ago, even in his wise old age and thinning hairline, HB Shizzle still made headlines on Monday Night Raw. But this time, it wasn't all me that made these headlines. Sure, I may have tuned up the old band and given CM Punk a good old taste of sweet chin music, but it was far from something I did by myself. It was something I did with my kids, my students, my pupils from NXT. And now, Bobby, since you wanted this face-to-face tonight, I figured I'd bring the guilty parties here with me. Let me see the Nexus people. Sorry. We see the Antidote people, walking in through the crowd. Bronson Steiner, Obafemi, Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, Roxy Lyra, all of them. And he goes, don't worry, Bobby. If you're seeing this backstage and you're worried, don't be. I've promised that my students here won't lay a finger on you during our conversation. So, Bobby, let's get out here. Bobby Roode comes out. And he goes, thank you, Shawn, but I think for my own safety, I'm going to stand on this ramp right now. And you can let us all know what exactly it is we've got going on here, because I've got plenty of people in a hospital bed. Cody Rhodes, he's here now getting checked up on the doctor to see if he can still go at Backlash. CM Punk, I've not heard from him since you lot attacked him. AJ Lee, she's still in the hospital after the last week, and her future, it's very much up in the air. So how do you explain yourself? Because explain myself, I think I did a pretty good job of that 2 weeks ago. I told you all exactly what this was and what was going to happen. Because you see, CM Punk, he's a good kid. He's got a good head on his shoulders, a hell of a lot better hair on his shoulders than I had when I was his age. And he had the right idea about taking a group of young talent to the top of this industry. An industry where people coming up from NXT, even still to this day, are sabotaged on the main roster. Back then, it was Hunter's kids getting fucked around. Now it's mine. Bye, Hunter. So, over the past few months, me and these kids here, we did some talking. And we said it's time to take over, and that's with or without CM Punk. CM Punk helped us get our foot in the door, but now our feet are firmly planted on this show, apart from, Oba. But trust me, we'll get Oba on Monday Night Raw, don't you worry about it. But now, Bobby, this show is our show. The entire show is on lockdown, not because of CM Punk, but because of us. So this is where the story ends as far as I'm concerned, Bobby. Because if you look around in the ring, you see future world champions, future megastars of this industry. It was inevitable they were going to reach the top. I'm just helping them get there because they needed a little extra boost to not be messed around by the system by people like CM Punk who are trying to keep their spots. So, Bobby, you're a former NXT champion yourself. You are one of the many, many names who can relate to what I mentioned. So, Bobby, what's it gonna be? Are you in? And Bobby just looks at me and goes, what exactly are you asking, Sean? You were saying that you want me in on your little game. You want me to become a tyrannical ruler here on Monday Night Raw? And then Sean goes, no, Bobby. What I'm asking is, are you Nexus or against us? Bobby sort of looks confused. He goes, what I would like is for you to leave my show. Sean goes, your show? Buddy, let me tell you something. We're in now, all of us. And any building that we're in is our show. Now, Bobby, come down here, will you? Bobby Roode gets into the ring. Sean goes, you haven't got to worry. Like I said, I promised my kids wouldn't lay a finger on you during our conversation tonight. But as far as I'm concerned, our conversation is over. He drops the mic. Bronson Steiner and Obafemi sort of corner Bobby Roode. And Bobby Roode, he is retired, so he knows he's fucked, but he still wants to give it a fight. But before that can even happen, outrush Ace Austin and Chris Bay with steel chairs. They try and take the fight to Ober and Bronson Steiner. They sort of do neutralise them for a little bit, because despite the size advantage, there's a steel chair in hand. And then Damian Priest and Buddy Murphy also rush out with steel chairs. And then the numbers are even, but the Nexus is still on top because Sean's there, being a little rascal. And then Burn It Down outstorms Seth Rollins. He gets into the ring and he chases Sean with the chair. Sean ducks out of the ring. And the Nexus guys are outnumbered already, Damian Priest and Buddy Murphy brawl with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams to the outside. It takes both Ace Austin and Chris Bay to neutralise Obafemi. And it's just Seth Rollins and Bronson Steiner in the ring. Seth hits him in the back of a chair. Bronson Steiner sort of just no-sells it. He starts, shaking his head around, calling on for more. And then him and Seth get into a brawl as well. And Bobby Roode leaves the ring and goes, you know what? Have at it. Try your hardest to take over this show, because as we've proven over many, many months, we've got a lot of people here who live and die to save this show. And last time I checked, you three, pointing at Bronson Steiner, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, are Monday Night Raw superstars. So you need to be treated like such. So at Backlash, this new version of the Nexus you've concocted here, Sean, is going to die before it even gets the chance to start, because they're going to go 3-on-3 with Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, and Buddy Murphy. So yeah, big announcement at Backlash. It will be the Nexus against the Church of Rollins in a 6-man tag team match. And let's see how that goes for them, because, it started off well, their dominance has started. We know how the Nexus ended last time. Last time the Nexus' first match on pay-per-view was a multi-man tag match of like Raw All Stars. It didn't end so well for the group, so you know, and look, try and get that monkey off their back. But yes, they're here. I can stop calling them the Antidote now, and you know, slipping up and calling them the before I have to correct myself. They're here, and it's going to be Church of Rollins against Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, and Bronson Steiner at Backlash. But then cut to Gorilla. We see Alexa and Liv, you know, sort of in the zone, ready for the match when Thea Hale walks in. You know, she's all hyped up. She goes, "Oh my god, girls. You know, I thought leaving Chase U would, you know, it would take me a while to find my feet without Mr. Chase around, but you know, we've got it. We've got a big tag match tonight, girls. It's awesome. And look, I've been brainstorming names." And then Liv and Alexa just look across at her all confused. She goes, "I thought about this. We are Team Livin' Blizzard." And then they sort of look and go, "Do you get it? Because her name's Liv. Your name's Bliss. You got this whole ice thing, and I'm Hale." And like, yeah, I get it. Just come on. And you know, Alexa goes out. Thea Hale follows her out, and then we just pan on Liv in the gorilla when we see a small man's hand put his hand on Liv's shoulder. It's Malcolm Bivens, and he goes, "Good luck, Josie girl. I'm sure you're gonna do great out there. Jade Cargill hasn't forgotten, though. You're still due that ass whooping." I'll Liv just laugh. She goes, "Ha ha 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 ha. Tell Jade she knows exactly where to find me." And then Liv goes out. Yeah, 6-woman tag. The Colton verse is here. It's going to be Liv, Alexa, and Thea Hale against Tiffany, Mariah May, and Anne-Marie Porter in a 6-woman tag team match to kick off our in-ring portion of the night. And it's the babyface team who win. Alexa pinning Anne-Marie Porter with the icebreaker in 13:07. 75 for Anne-Marie Porter, 62 for Mariah May, 79 for Tiffany, 74 for Liv, 56 for Thea, 86 for Alexa. So yeah, Thea coming up the rear, you know, well, not that bad actually. She's only like 6 points below Mariah, but you know, she is the least popular one here. But she's breaking out on her own. She's doing all right. I guess not really on her own because she's part of, as she called it, Team Livin' Blizzard. But yes, this trio of blonde women defeats this trio of blonde women to kick off Monday Night Raw. The Colton verse is alive and well. After the match, you know, Alexa and Thea, they're celebrating. Thea like tries to hug Alexa. Alexa like awkwardly like takes her arm off and is like, "No, don't. You know, we're locked in." And then when Liv's in the ring celebrating with the crowd, Jade Cargill storms in. She drops Liv Morgan with a big boot. And she like continues the attack on Liv. She gets Liv up for a Jaded. Bianca's music hit. She storms to the ring and she starts taking the fight to Jade. She whips Jade with her hair. Jade sort of grabs Bianca's hair, like pulls her by the ponytail, pulls her in, hits her with a big boot of her own, and she lays Bianca Belair out with the Jaded. You know, standing tall, Bivens puts the championship around her waist and says, "This is where it belongs, huh? It was a nice 3 weeks keeping Jade Cargill's title warm, because this bitch is going to look glorious as a 2-time women's champion." We then got back to Bobby Roode in his office, and he's chatting to Okada, and he goes, "Look, I'm not going to get angry at you because, you know, it's part of the transfer window. It's a thing, you know. You can negotiate with any brand you want, but I would be lying if I wasn't a little bit concerned seeing my Intercontinental Champion defending my Intercontinental Championship, my brand's championship on SmackDown on Friday. And so, what is it? Are you in? Are you out? Are you on Raw? Are you SmackDown?" And Okada puts his hand on his shoulder. He goes, "Bobby, relax. I am the Rainmaker. I will be wherever it rains." And Bobby Roode is sort of like, "Okay, well, let me know the number, because we just signed you to a contract. So we'll have to work on keeping you in, because, you know, you're a valuable asset at Monday Night Raw. I don't really want to lose a champion as part of this transfer window." And Okada goes, "Don't worry. It'll all be okay. I beat Ludwig, and I bring the championship back to Raw." And he leaves. That's when Chelsea Green walks in. He goes, "Bobby Roode, I'm here." He goes, "Hello, Chelsea." And Chelsea Green is sort of like, oh, he looks around and she goes, "I've been looking for my girls all day, okay? And Bobby goes, your girls? She goes, you know, Maki, Marika, Mizuki, Tam, my girls. Bobby goes, yeah. So, Chelsea. He goes, what? He goes, you requested to Ava to move to Raw so you could be with your J-Flow girls full time? And Chelsea goes, yes, you know, I'm sick and tired of doing this whole ECW thing. I can only see them on Heat, Bobby. Do you know how that feels? Bobby goes, well, Chelsea, do you not watch the product? Do you not watch the shows of the company you're employed by? And Chelsea goes, I've been a busy woman, Bobby. I'm sorry I didn't catch ECW last week. Or SmackDown. Because, well, if you did, you'd know that J-Flow are now on SmackDown. She goes, what? So what about me? He goes, guess you're here on your own. Chelsea goes, that's fine, but I would have really liked my girls to still be with me. But he goes, yeah, well, I've just made another big acquisition to the Raw Women's Division. After losing, 4 women in J-Flow. I need to, get my hands in my pocket and get another big acquisition for this division. So tonight, you're going to face her one-on-one. Chelsea goes, I won't let you down, Bobby. I'm glad that you signed me, even knowing that J-Flow were leaving, because you valued me that much, but I can't leave my girls hanging. I've got to find a replacement. She rushes off and she goes, don't forget about the match, Chelsea. We then cut back to the ring. Bronson Reed, he hops the barricade in, just casual clothes. He goes, right, ladies and gentlemen, I've had it up to here with this. I was granted permission by Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis on SmackDown to be here tonight on Monday Night Raw. Because SmackDown, in case you didn't know, is the current brand in possession of the United States Championship, and it's champion Obafemi. But ever since WrestleMania, where Obafemi won that championship, he's not been appearing on SmackDown because he's been terrorizing Monday Night Raw. So Oba, if you're a man, get yourself out here right now and let's do this face to face. And prove to me that you are the man that you think you are. Or I promise I will come back there. I will find you. And I'll make this place look even worse than your new little Nexus group did last week. You dig? That's when Brody Hayward comes out. He goes, Bronson Reed, there's no need to be upset. I understand you want to put your hands on Obafemi, but have you considered this? I also need to make my way over here on Raw because Chris, my learning tree, left me behind on SmackDown. Now Kylan and Brad, they don't seem to be as annoyed at that as I am. But Chris, I know you're back there watching. I'm gonna do you proud. I'm here on Monday Night Raw and I'm gonna beat this big fat oaf here on my debut. Put him up. And Bronson Reed just laughs and goes, you're serious? You want to fight me when I'm in this mood? Brody goes, yeah, what you gonna do about it, big boy? Smacks him in the face. Bronson Reed just laughs and goes, alright. Match begins. Bronson Reed kills Brody Hayward in 3 minutes with a tsunami. Bronson Reed for 79, Brody Hayward for 45. And yeah, big win for... why did I say big win? Possibly the smallest possible win a single male wrestler on this roster could achieve has been achieved by Bronson Reed here tonight. But after the match, Bronson Reed is frustrated. Obafemi no-showed him in that promo still. And he goes up top and he hits another 3 tsunamis on Big Brody Hayward. The crowd shouting one more time. And he's like screaming, this is going to be you, Oba. This is going to be you. Flies off for another tsunami. Cracks the ribs of Brody Hayward again. Brody screams in pain. It's not looking good for our boy, Brody Hayward. He gets... The stretcher gets brought out. Somebody's getting stretchered out of Monday Night Raw, but for the first time in weeks, it's not because of the hands of the Nexus. It's because of Big Bronson Reed. And he just continues delivering the tsunamis to Brody Hayward until the security and the referees tell him to stop. And he just leaves. He goes, I'm coming to get you, Oba. I'm coming to find you. I know you're back there. And he storms to the back as we go to commercial. We come back. Big Bronson Reed is angry. No, we're not. Sorry, there's a segment before that. We get back from ads. And we see a car pull up. You know, we get the shot of, like, we get the close-up of the car door. We see the door open. We see the person's foot step out. And then, you know, it pans up. And it's Paul Heyman. He's here. He's got a big smile on his face. He adjusts his tie. And he waddles his way towards the arena. When Ethan Page bumps into him, he goes, Mr. Paul Heyman, I appreciate you're a WWE Hall of Famer around these parts, but I expected better from you. Last week, you cut off my promo. You cut off All Ego, Ethan Page, when he was trying to let the world know his motivations here on Monday Night Raw. And I'm not going to stand for that disrespect, Paul Heyman, so you've got to apologize to me right here and right now. Heyman sort of looks at him confused and goes, and you are? He goes, don't play this with me, Heyman. I know you know who I am. You're a big fan of my work. But last week, you disrespected me, and I'm not going to let that slide. And Heyman goes, so you want to get even with me? Paul Heyman, the wise man of the tribal chief Roman Reigns. I'll tell you what, Ethan. I don't fight, but I know somebody who does. And think about this. Do you really want to face Roman Reigns all alone? And he just waddles off, and we get the camera on Ethan Page, you know, snarling, shaking his head. But then we cut back, we see an angry Bronson Reed storming through the hallway, and Bobby Roode gets to his face and goes, Bronson. He goes, where is he, huh? Where is he? He goes, listen, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. He goes, what? He goes, I invited you here, you know, to call out Oba. Oba, he's around here somewhere, but what you just did to one of my talents out there was unacceptable, you know. I've already been losing talents left or right, and now I've got another guy who may be out for a long time because he left here on a stretcher. Bronson Reed just looks at him and goes, is Bodie Hayward? Bobby Roode goes, I know, but still, maybe one day that could happen to somebody I care about. And Bronson Reed goes, I'm starting to think you're protecting these boys. You know, I heard last week there was somebody in this arena who gave the Nexus entry into the building before they laid waste to AJ in the main event. Was that you, Bobby? Because you're starting to act like it the way you're protecting these guys. Then he walks off and he bumps into Duke Hudson in the hallway. And Bronson Reed and Duke Hudson sort of just exchange a look. Duke just gives him a nod and a smile and goes, alright, mate. And Bronson Reed gives him another nod and goes, alright. And he walks off. Yeah. An Aussie Mite reunion of sorts. You know, for those of you who've been around since TEW 2020, like episode 9, yeah, this one's for you. Shane Thorne is in New Japan, so he's not going to be here. But, yeah. 79-rated tag match. Path of the Dragon get a 79 out of Idris and Malik. Our resident team that when I need someone to lose a tag team. But it's fine. They're sort of getting a little bit better by just being in these losing matches. But Path of the Dragon, of course, do pick up the win. It is, notably, I guess, Tozawa and Zergis in this, because Humberto is there, but he's still hurting from last week when ZSJ, you know, wrapped him up in like a pretzel after their match. And Tozawa pins Idris with a diving senton off Zergis' shoulders in 9:57. 83 for Zergis, 80 for Tozawa, 57 for both Idris and Malik. So 79 is a pretty good match there. After the match, Humberto takes the mic, and he goes, ZSJ, last week, you went too far, man. And you put your hands on me, you left me in that submission hold. You know, I would have been able to compete here tonight. I had to tag in Zergis. Zergis had to do my job. Just like he had to fill in when Akira wasn't around. But let it be known, we're all well and good. Next time you want to do this again with me, I'm good to go. That's when ZSJ comes out and he goes, Berto, mate, what you want about? You know, last week was a singles match. I out-wrestled you and pinned you after the mat, tapped you out. Now, you're out here waffling about a rematch? Yeah, sure. I'll give you it any time you want, but I don't like the way Dino Dickhead was looking at me last week. So, I'm kind of glad he stepped in here tonight, because if Akira and Zergis can do the tag team action here tonight, I'm sure you and Zergis can do the tag team action on Sunday against us. And Humberto goes, yeah, of course, I'll be good to go by Sunday. Me and Zergis against... He's like, wait, us? And Zach goes, yeah. I brought a mate. Pete Dunne elbows Humberto in the back of the head. And he lays out Akira Tozawa with the bitter end. And, he leaves the ring and he bumps fists with ZSJ. So yeah, Pete Dunne, he's now on Raw as well. And he's aligned with ZSJ here, and they're going to face off with Humberto Carrillo and Zergis of Path of the Dragon on the Backlash pre-show this Saturday. I believe I said Sunday, but it's Saturday. Every pay-per-view that isn't WrestleMania and SummerSlam Night 2 or Evolution, it's a Saturday. So yeah. We then cut to Cody. Cody's in the doctor's office, as Bobby Roode said he was earlier on tonight. Bobby Roode's checking up on him. He goes, how you holding up? He goes, I'm good. I can go, Bobby. I can go. He goes, are you sure? Because, you're not looking very good. He goes, Bobby, I can go. If I don't go on Saturday and I forfeit this championship match, and I'm giving those guys that attacked me exactly what they want. What they don't want is me as WWE champion. And that's what I've got to give them. Bobby, I'm going to be there on Saturday and I'm going to win the WWE championship back. And Cody leaves. Bobby Roode's office starts rubbing his brow. When Bayley walks in, she goes, hey. He goes, hey Bayley, you look stressed. He goes, yeah. Last week I keep repaying that attack against AJ in my head. And feeling like I was worthless and there was nothing I could do to stop it. I just had to watch there and watch as the Lyra and Roxy and Cora, they took her apart. And now she's not here because of me. How's she holding up? Well, because I'd love to tell you it's all good, but it's very serious. We don't know what AJ's future is going to be like, if she's going to be able to be back. But yeah, I appreciate the concern. And then Bayley starts getting angry. She starts beating herself up, and she's like, no, I can't, okay? What they want is for me to be upset about this, but what I need to be is angry. I need to turn this into motivation. I need to go out there. I need to give Lyra Valkyria a piece of my mind for the way she put her hands on my friend last week. She storms out of the doctor's office. But he goes, wait, Bayley, where are you going? Then I come back to the ring. Out comes Logan Paul, cause of booze, and he's got a prime in his hand. He's got the aforementioned contract in his other hand, and he starts laughing. He goes, "What's up, Cleveland? My hometown." Now, friends and family all around the world, Logan Paul is back on your TV screen. Logan Paul is here for the first time at WrestleMania because I couldn't miss Cleveland. But more importantly, a guy who lost at WrestleMania because I put the L in LA Knight, yeah. A guy who lost at WrestleMania has a proposition for me. Now, it's true, over the past few weeks, I've been getting my guys to hit up all Los Angeles Night. Because, well, I'll just bring him out here and say it to his face, LA Knight, come out here and meet my people. LA Knight comes out. And Logan goes, LA Knight, so you've read the fine print. You know what I've got in my hand right here. Because it's actually very convenient. I was sitting backstage watching this show earlier on tonight, and I saw that big idiot, Zergis. This big bumbling buffoon who I thought was a great business opportunity last year. Turns out he was a little scumbag and he didn't appreciate a guy trying to do big business with him. All I wanted to do was to take a promising mid-card guy and give him that push to the top. Which is why, LA Knight, I had to reach out to you, because despite you being a former world champion, you can still use a little bit of work to be on my level, considering I beat you at WrestleMania. And I can get you there. We can put all our issues in the past, say that was all competitive banter, and we can move on as businessmen, as partners, LA. That's why I want you, LA Knight, because I do see potential in you to be the new official Prime sponsored superstar of WWE. What do you say? And I just looks at the contract, and he takes the mic and he goes, "You think I'm just going to sign this right here and right now? You must be even more out of your goddamn mind than we all knew you were. Yeah. Now listen here, Logan Paul. You got lucky at WrestleMania. I can admit that. I gave it all talk, all bark, and I couldn't back it up. I was a scared little puppy in that ring at WrestleMania, and you wired my jaw shut. Sure, you've got a titanium right fist, and you use brass knuckles, neither of which should be illegal, but either way, you got one over on LA Knight. And now you're coming out here offering me this disrespectful contract, saying you want me to be sponsored by a piss energy drink. Nah! Here's what we're gonna do. I got my guys, okay? Because LA Knight, I've got guys alright, and my guys are better than your guys, and my guys saw this contract, and they said, hey, LA. Said, Logan Paul wants you to be his partner, his business partner, his new partner in Prime, dare I say. Do you want to put this horrible Impact font logo all over your gear and sell out for the corporate man? Or do you want to be the corporate man? And Logan Paul looks confused and he goes, I'm not sure I'm following. And he laughs and goes, oh, I know you're not. It's funny, it'll all be clear soon. So I took these guys. And I said, can you imagine me as a Prime branded superstar? You know, what a joke, right? Yeah. But then it hit me. What if it wasn't a joke? What if LA Knight was Mr. Prime here in WWE? So I got them to draw up a contract of my own, Logan Paul, and my signature's already on it. If you want your signature on it, we can make this here a done deal. And Logan Paul just laughs and goes, great! I knew you'd come around. He signs the contract. He hits the pen on the contract. He smiles. He goes, ladies and gentlemen, the new Prime sponsored WWE superstar, LA Knight. Yeah. Yeah, I knew it. Come on, let's go get to work, Sean. And as he goes to leave, I sort of like puts his arm out and he just goes, nada. Not right now, at least. Because this here is a contract. I got drawn up. My guys drew it up. Hell, Bobby Roode drew it up. It's for a match this Saturday at Backlash. On one side of the ring, dumbass Logan Paul. And on the other side of the ring, the Golden God, the megastar himself, LA Knight. Yeah. On your side of the ring, that dumbass contract you've got in your hands right there hangs above the ring on a pole. If you retrieve that contract, you win, and I'll be your damn Prime sponsored superstar. Like, well, that's great. All I gotta do is beat you again, and we can make this a reality. And then it goes, but if I win, I don't become a Prime sponsored superstar. I become Prime. Yeah. And Logan Paul goes, what do you mean you become Prime? He goes, Logan Paul, that contract you just didn't read the fine print on, that goes up in LA Knight's corner at Backlash. And if I can pull that son of a bitch down before you can pull yours down, I own your business. Yeah. And he walks off, big pop, and Gunn Club goes, no. I put my heart and my soul into that drink, into that business, okay? You're just bad, you're just even worse at being a businessman than you are at being a wrestler. So you've got to try and scam and con your way to success. But it's fine. I'll beat your ass at WrestleMania. I'll beat your ass again at Backlash. And then you'll be my bitch. Yeah! So yes. Prime on a pole. Literally. If Logan Paul can retrieve his contract first, LA Knight becomes the Prime sponsored superstar. But if LA Knight retrieves the contract first, he owns Prime Hydration. We then cut back to the Patriarchy's room. And Christian goes, 5 days' time, those World Tag Team Championships come home to the Patriarchy. My favourite son, Dominic Mysterio, is grounded right now. Because he let us all down. So me and Lexus are going to show him how it's done. But Dominic, don't you worry, we want you there at Backlash. I want you to watch from ringside. Because once that bell rings, after the match, you're going to get a front row seat to find out who truly is Daddy. We then cut to Bayley. She storms into the women's locker room. She goes, hey, has anyone seen Lyra? Anyone seen Lyra? Or Cora or Roxy or any of them? And the learning tree. I'll have to find a new name for them because they're not really related to Jericho at the minute. You know, they're chilling in there. She goes, what makes you think we let those girls into this locker room? But he goes, great, so where the hell are they? And Morgan Slaughter goes, why would we tell you? Yeah. If you were so good at being a friend, you'd have been there last week to stop them, to prevent AJ from going to the hospital. Because they had me tied up against the ropes. Okay, where was you were hiding back here like cowards? You know, watching them take care of, demonstrate and destroy this entire locker room. But I'm the bad person because I didn't help AJ last week when I physically couldn't. Okay. And Morgan goes, well, I'm just saying, if my best friends here were ever in danger, I'd be out there right away trying to save the day. But he goes, oh, would you? Well, luckily for you, your best friend's never going to be in trouble because nobody wants to take out your best friends to make a statement. And Zeta Seal goes, well, who are you talking to like that, Bayley? Because you. What are you going to do about it? And Zeta goes, you're talking to the wrong woman like that. This is my chance to make a statement. I'm going to take you down tonight. And Bayley goes, great, I've been looking for a fight. It's not quite with who I wanted it to be with, but hey, you'll do. So yeah, Bayley and Zeta one-on-one tonight here on Raw. A-rated match. Chelsea Green's opponent is Blair Davenport. You know, we haven't seen Blair on ECW since WrestleMania, where she came out showing that triple threat match. Ruby's back. She's got her eyes on getting a rematch for that belt. Blair has made her move to a different brand. She's now part of Raw. And she beats Chelsea Green in 7:43. 84 for Blair Davenport, 65 for Chelsea Green. So yeah, Chelsea, you know, doing alright. She's by herself now, so she hopefully won't get as lost in the shuffle as she has been for, like, the entirety of this entire series. But, yeah. Chelsea and Blair now both on Raw. We then get a Jay White promo. You know, he's laughing. He goes, boys, Backlash is upon us. And my triple threat match just got a hell of a lot easier on that show because you can't even really call it a triple threat match anymore. It's basically a one-on-one match because this man, Cody Rhodes, this politician, went and throw himself head first into business that didn't concern him once again, and it's led to him suffering another little injury. Now, he says he's going to be there at Backlash, and I believe him because he's stupid enough to still show up like that. But to be quite honest, Cody, the one biggest compliment I can give you is that I wish that injury would have happened to Chad Gable instead of you. And I'm dead serious about that. Could you see at WrestleMania, Chad proved that he's got wit and determination to pick up big wins in triple threat matches for the championship, Cody. Whereas I proved at WrestleMania I could beat you. And that was you at what? 80%? Now you're at what, 50? It's going to be a walk in the park. All I've got to do is take care of Chad Gable, and then once it's me and Cody Rhodes all alone, I will pick the bones, and we'll be looking at the new WWE Champion. His name, Switchblade Jay White. Because I know that this Nexus business, it ain't got nothing to do with me. I've been strategic. I've kept my nose out of all this drama this entire time because I've been focused on getting myself better. You, Cody Rhodes, like always, wanted to play the hero. And in doing so, it's going to lead to my biggest victory in history. See you Saturday, Cody. Chad. But they cut back to see Blair Davenport after her match. She goes, yeah, that's right. Blair Davenport, here on Raw, looking to take my way to the top here on Monday Night Raw. You know, I decimated Florence every single step, you know, and she had to beat Ruby to get that win at WrestleMania. But it's fine, she can have her little precious championship, because I've got higher goals here on Raw. And that's not just to become women's champion, that's to take over this entire brand, working from the bottom to the very top. Anyone who's on this brand should be worried that Blair Davenport is now here. And then she bumps into Tegan Knox and Piper Niven. Just look who it is. It's my old friends from the UK, you know, how you holding up? And Tegan goes, pretty good, actually. You know, we just got a win last week. You know, it's good to see you here, Blair. You know, I'm happy you're on this brand. And Blair goes, huh? Well, you shouldn't be. Because your spot, consider it taken. Because I'm going to walk straight to the top. And then Tegan's like, oh, well, okay, bitch. Like, all I said was it's good to see you here, but if you really want to go there, I struggle to see how you can make your way to the top, considering you struggled and didn't make your way to the top at ECW after countless and countless attempts because you couldn't beat your old best friend. Blair goes, you want to talk to me about old best friends, huh? You two, of all people, want to talk to me about old best friends? Lads, nobody would even know or care who you two were if it wasn't for your old best friends. I made that statement and made a name for myself in spite of my old best friend. But here you are still clinging on to yours 2 years later. Pathetic. Tegan like tries to fight her. Piper like holds her back and go, no, she's not worth it. She's not worth it. Okay, leave her. We then get a Ludwig Kaiser vignette. You know, it's like a dark hallway. We hear Ludwig's footsteps, you know, clattering down the hallway. And we hear like a vault door open. He turns the light on. And Ludwig's back in his collection. He's back in his vault with all his personal items. He's like dusting around, like whistling to himself. You know, he's got a sweater on, turtleneck. He's like dusting all the shelves off. You know, we see all the odd things he's collected. He's still got Baron Corbin's Bored Ape NFT up there. He's got the El Generico mask. He's got Cameron Grimes' mattress. All of that. And then he's dusting off the shelf that he's left clean for a championship. And he goes, my beautiful shelf. After all this time, it's nice to finally see you again. I'll be back here next week and I'll finally bring something to put in you. Ludwig Kaiser will not be denied anymore. And at Backlash Okada, Ludwig Kaiser captures his first piece of singles gold. When I take that Intercontinental Championship and put it where it belongs, up on my mantle. John Cena comes to the ring here in Cleveland. And he goes, wow, Cleveland, Ohio. It's been a long time. I don't know how long it's actually been. I've definitely been to Cleveland in like the last 3 months. He goes, now, on the Raw after WrestleMania, I came to this ring. and I laid out my plan. I said, Kazuchika Okada, congratulations on being the Intercontinental Champion. But now it's time for me to turn my focus where I need my focus. And that's that 17th World Championship that not only I want to win, that you all want to see me win. I'm not going to win that 17th World Championship for myself. I'm going to do it for myself. But most importantly, for all of you who have supported me over the years. Whether you've cheered me or booed me, I'm going to get it done. So that's why I said to Bobby Roode that I wanted to be a part of the Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, Money in the Bank is still 2 months away, July 5th in Los Angeles. But Bobby Roode, he said there's no handouts. Bobby Roode said that I gotta do something for him, and in return he'll do a favor for me. And now it's taken a week or so to get this favor all finalized, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to announce it all once and for all. Because you see, if you've been living under a rock recently, WWE announced its return to NBC for In Your House. The first of those specials, In Your House, is coming up next Saturday. Deadline. It's the end of this transfer window. And John Cena, I'm going to be a part of one brand or another by the end of the transfer window. You best believe all 3 GMs have been in my ear for the past month. So at Deadline, John Cena will be doing nothing. At Deadline, the spotlight will be on the other talents here in WWE instead of on me. So why do I bring this up? Well, while the first In Your House show is on May 17th, the next show is on June 28th. That show is called In Your House Worlds Collide. And at In Your House Worlds Collide, your favorite WWE superstars, your favorite NXT superstars, your favorite AAA superstars, and superstars from across the Pacific Ocean, from Japan, all come together for one night. They all come together for Worlds Collide, and that event will take place in Tokyo. Not in the Tokyo Dome, just in an arena in Tokyo, for the record. And on that night, John Cena will march down to the ring for his final time to compete in Japan. And John Cena, on that night, will stand across the ring from an opponent he's never faced before. An opponent who also doesn't have a lot long left on the clock. An opponent who people have been dreaming about seeing John Cena wrestle for at least 15 years. On that night, Worlds Collide In Your House, June 28th in Japan, John Cena will stand across the ring from Hiroshi Tanahashi. Ace versus Ace. Icon versus Icon. June 28th in your house. And once one retiring icon has their arm raised high, after that night, my focus is laser focused on Chad Gable Cody Rhodes, Jay White, Sami Zayn, Buster Gates, Bobby Lashley, Jacob Fatu, you name it, whoever is a world champion. If you want some, come get some. Bang. In Your House Worlds Collide, June 28th. John Cena versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, Icon versus Icon. First time ever, last time ever, 2 retiring icons of the game. In a dream match. In Japan. I know it's a very quick turnaround from the first In Your House, but I wanted to do it before Money in the Bank. Plus, in real life, they did the R-Truth one was what late May, and then the Goldberg one was like second week of July, which is only like 6 weeks, which is about as many weeks as there is between these, so it's fine. I just won't do one for like 3 months after. But yes, Worlds Collide, NXT, AAA, WWE, and New Japan, all a part of this show. Main evented by John Cena versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. But then cut back, how we go from that to Bayley storming through the hallway. She's getting ready for her match, and she bumps into Bianca, and Bianca and Chikara are trying to calm down after the attack on tonight, and her and Bayley sort of look at each other. Because, I was hoping I was going to run into you. And Bianca goes, what, Bayley, what? He goes, last week, what was all that about, huh? She goes, I know, right, it was crazy. He goes, yeah, it was. I had to sit there, handcuffed to the ring post, watching my friend get absolutely destroyed by these Nexus guys, okay? And the brave women's champion, who's supposed to be the biggest star, face of this division, protector of all, ran away, okay? Beck goes, girl, I went to go and get you. You think those security guards would have come out there without my help? And Bayley goes, probably, but you walked away. Lyra, this big coup that they're trying to take over, she came up to you and she went, oh, if I was you, I'd leave. And you did it. You just left and let AJ be taken out. Now, I know you and I have had our issues in the past and we're not friends and we never will be, but come on now. Really? Really? Because, girl, I'm not in the mood for all this, okay? I've got Jay to deal with and now I've got you all up in my grill, okay? What I did was I went to go back to go and get help. It's not my fault your stupid ass got your hands tied to the rope, okay? Bayley goes, you're supposed to be protecting this division. That championship comes with responsibility. Responsibility that I took up last year when you tried to rip it away from me. And I beat you twice. And now you've got the championship and you're running away with your braid between your legs and letting veterans of this industry, heroes to thousands, millions of fans around the world, get taken out on a stretch and we never know if she's going to come back again. But hey, at least Bianca's okay. Bianca goes, I think you're a little bit confused and a little bit stressed. Like we all are, but you come at me yapping at me like that again, it ain't going to end as civilly as this. Okay, girl? And she just walks off and Bayley goes, okay, well, I've got a match to compete with. And she goes out and she's very aggressive with Zeta Steel. It's not squash, She's not like Bodhi Hayward tier low. But she is very aggressive and like beats up with a rose plant in 8-14. 77 for Bayley, 37 for Zeta. And yeah, 72 for the match. A W carry by Bayley. Then after the match, she grabs the mic and she goes, I'm done with this. Lyra, Cora, Roxy, get out here now. And Lyra and Cora and Roxy come out. Lyra goes, Bayley, you don't have to be so aggressive, I want you to come out here anyway. You just have to ask nicely. But he goes, shut up. Okay? Listen. I can't believe all three of you. I used to have so much respect and love for all three of you. You all grew up fans of mine and Sasha and Bayley and Charlotte. And we helped get you into this industry, and I was so proud of that. But now, if I'd have known that match at Brooklyn would lead to you three getting into this industry, I would have not shown up that night. Because It's a net negative to have you three around here after what you did to AJ last week. Someone who I thought you all loved. And Roxy's like, Bayley, look. It's true, we did love AJ. And that's why us and Punk, we started this whole thing in the first place, and we went easy on AJ first time. But AJ served her purpose. And we took her out. And Lara goes, that's right. And to be quite honest, Bayley, you know who else served her purpose? Becky. And I didn't quite get to take her out, but she took herself out. God knows what she was up to, and we haven't seen her since. Sasha, where the hell has she been? Charlotte, we haven't seen her since WrestleMania either. Those three got the memo, Bayley. That the future is now. And they left before we could send them packing. AJ just didn't get the message. So we had to deliver it for her. And you standing here as the only horsewoman still here, it appears you didn't get that message either. But don't worry. I'm more than happy to repeat it. And then Cora and Roxy and Lyra go to corner Bayley. And then Bobby Roode storms out and he goes, no, we're not doing any more of this. Okay, Lyra, Cora, Roxy, I'll tell you the same thing I told you all earlier on when I made that match for Backlash. If you want to keep running around here causing chaos here on Monday Night Raw as Monday Night Raw Superstars, then I'll treat you like Monday Night Raw Superstars. So here's what we're going to do. Backlash. Bayley, Lyra, one-on-one. I think that's everybody that's my business sorted. We'll send the US Champion back over to SmackDown, apart from you two. But don't worry, you two are going to defend your championships right here, right now, against the challengers, Killer Kelly and Billy Starks. And oh yeah, Lyra, you're banned from ringside. So yeah, Bobby Roode finally putting his foot down. We've got Nexus Graps in our in-ring main event. Cora Jade and Roxy Perez defend the championships against New Killer Star. 85. I'm almost positive that's better than their Roadblock pre-show match. But Cora and Roxy pick up the win anyway. You know, Roxy pinning Billy Starks with the Pop Rocks in 12:42. You know, I imagine Billy putting a gutsy performance specifically, but then she gets put down. 91 for Roxy, 85 for Cora, 52 for Billy, and a 77 for Kelly. So yeah, a retention of the Women's Tag Team Championships here tonight on Raw. And Bayley and Lyra set official for Backlash. We then see Chad Gable. You know, he's at a gym in his house. He's like hung the WWE Championship around his treadmill. And we see him working out, preparing. Then he takes a seat in a chair and he just laughs and goes, what? You thought Chad Gable was going to show up to Monday Night Raw, you know, with all the chaos going on there right now? No thank you. Had I not really proven I'm smarter than that, okay? I'll be at Backlash, though, because I've got to defend my WWE Championship against two idiots. Cody Rhodes and Jay White. Idiots for two very different reasons. Cody Rhodes, you know, the brave idiot. He's got more guts than brains as Cody Rhodes, and he ran into danger once again. He's not going to be 100% for that match. And Jay White, I think he's just a fool, because he seems to think that with Cody Rhodes out of the question, this WWE Championship is his for the taking. Well, I don't see it around your waist, buddy. I see it around the waist of Chad Gable. And you two have got this squabble going on with each other that I'm sure is going to get in the way. And in the end, I'm going to do what I always do, and that's pick the best spot, pick the right opportunity, and leave a winner still WWE Champion. Thank you. Next week will feature the fallout from Backlash. It will also technically be the go-home show for In Your House Deadline from the Raw end. And yeah, we have two women's matches set for next week's episode of Raw. The first, Jade Cargill and Liv Morgan are going to go one-on-one. They've had, you know, their issues for the past 3 weeks, and they're going to go one-on-one next week. here on Raw. Plus, following the backstage squabble they had earlier on tonight, Tegan Knox and Blair Davenport are also going to go one-on-one next week on Raw. And this Saturday, it is the first premium live event since WrestleMania. It is Backlash, and we now have the full card for that show, as confirmed last week with Bianca's victory in the main event. It will be Bianca Belair defending the WWE Women's Championship against the former champion Jade Cargill. You know, Rhea Ripley was there for the WrestleMania match, but now we get the one-on-one encounter. Bianca, Jade, one-on-one at Backlash. And a 6-man tag team match is now official. The Nexus Boys going to be in action. It's going to be Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, and Damian Priest taking on Bronson Steiner, Carmelo Hayes, and Trick Williams. And the Nexus Girl is going to be in action as well, as Lyra Valkyria goes one-on-one with Bayley. No titles on the line, just a personal grudge between those two. And something will be on the line, though. Logan Paul's entire business as he faces off against LA Knight in a WrestleMania rematch. Prime on a pole. If Logan Paul pulls his contract down, LA Knight officially becomes Prime sponsored. But if LA Knight pulls the briefcase down, he owns Prime Hydration. And on the pre-show, a tag team match is now official. It's going to be Humberto Carrillo and Zergus the Mighty of Path of the Dragon facing off against Pete Dunne and ZSJ in tag team action. Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman make their way out to the ring. You know, Roman aura farms his way down. He gets into the ring. OTC, OTC, OTC. Goes Cleveland, Ohio. Monday Night Raw. Acknowledge me. Now, it was 2 years ago. The unthinkable happened. 2 years ago, my baby brother Seth, he finally graduated from the kiddie table. Seth, he put me, Jimmy, and Jay down in that Hell in a Cell match, and he banished my ass from my show, SmackDown. And ever since then, my wise man here, Mr. ECW, revived ECW, and he made that my show. Our family's show. But now, that family drama is settled. Now, the tribal chief returns home to Raw for the first time in 6 years, I believe. I don't believe he's been on Raw in this entire save. I believe because it started in 2020 when he was on SmackDown, and then I've always had him on SmackDown. Then he went to ECW. Obviously, he's probably appeared on Raw, but as a by first time on Raw in 6 years, he means as a Raw contracted wrestler, because the last time he would have been before the 2019 Superstar Shakeup. Because now, what brings me to Monday Night Raw? I'll tell you what it wasn't. Wasn't Seth Rollins. But boy, did it feel good to remind Seth exactly who runs this place. Because Seth, you've had your little run as the protagonist around these parts. But Big Chief is back now, so you can take that sidekick back whenever you want it. Yes, sir. But now, I've got my eyes on a different prize. 2 years ago, Seth, nearly 3 even, you took something from me. You took my WWE Championship. And now, Big Chief's back on Raw. And I want my title back. And I don't care who I've got to go through to get it done. Roman Reigns, your tribal chief, will once again be WWE Champion. And Paul Heyman takes the mic and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, I warned everybody here on Monday Night Raw last week. I singled out Seth Rollins, I singled out Cody Rhodes, Chad Gable, the current WWE Champion, hell, even John Cena. This yard doesn't belong to any of them. The king of the yard is here on Monday Night Raw, and he will always be the biggest dog in the yard, then, now, and forever." Out come the Nexus. And they come out. Bronson Steiner's got a microphone. He goes, "You hear that, boys? Biggest dog in the yard. Roman Reigns. Listen here, big dog. I can still call you big dog, right? I don't care what he has to say. The last few weeks have proven one thing's for sure. There is a new big dog in town. And it ain't Roman Reigns. It's me. It's Bronson Steiner. And it's us. The Nexus. Now last year, I did something that I'm very proud of. I made a name for myself. I came out here and I speared Cody Rhodes out of his boots. And when they asked me, "Bronson, why did you do that to Cody Rhodes? What's your beef with Cody Rhodes?" I said, "I ain't got none. Cody Rhodes was the biggest dog in the yard and I had to take him out to make a statement. So Roman, if you think you're the biggest dog in this yard, guess I've got to take you out to make a statement too." Bohemian goes, "Bronson Steiner, I was wondering when we'd bump into you." He goes, "Shut up, Heyman." Paul Heyman sort of does that big bug-eyed Paul Heyman stare. He goes, "Excuse me?" Because I said, "Shut up. You can do one of two things right now. You can stand your fat ass in the corner and watch, knowing that there's nothing you can do, or you can get in his way, and I'll spear your fat ass too." Paul Heyman goes, "Get them, my tribal chief." Roman Reigns, he throws a Superman punch. He rocks Bronson Steiner with a Superman punch. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, they jump on Roman Reigns. He tries to fight them both off. Big Over Femi charges in. He pounces Roman Reigns down. He starts, beating his chest. And then as Over goes to, get Roman up, Big Bronson Reed has stormed his way back into the arena. He takes down Obafemi. They start brawling on the outside. And then Damian Priest and Buddy Murphy rush out. Just Damian Priest and Buddy Murphy. And, as they rush out, they're like, "Come on, the numbers are back in our favour again." But Seth's not here. And they look around confused, like, "Where the hell is Seth?" And then as they look around, Bronson Steiner spears Buddy Murphy. He turns around. Roman Reigns goes to spear Bronson Steiner. He moves out of the way. Roman accidentally spears Damian Priest. He gets up. He turns around. Paul Heyman screaming, "Turn around, my tribal chief!" He's speared in half by Bronson Steiner. Obafemi, he manages, security, pull Bronson Reed away. Like, "We told you to get out of this fucking arena." And they take Bronson Reed away from Obafemi. And then the Nexus boys, rip apart the ring once again. More security rush out. Ace Austin and Chris Bay, Cody Rhodes, they all hobble out. But they all just sort of keep getting stopped. And then the Nexus, just as they did to AJ last week, take apart the tribal chief. They pick him up, trick shot, down goes Roman. Oba hits that big power bomb. Bronson Steiner picks him up, he spears him in half. And yeah, they leave the ring, they leave through the crowd to a bunch of boos. Security's in there checking on Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman's out there checking on Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes is in there checking on Roman Reigns. More chaos. Last week it was AJ. The week before it was CM Punk. This week, Roman. A non-rate show. Yeah, sure. Long ass show, to be fair. Over an hour I've been recording for. But yes, that's more what you thought of the show. Do let me know what you thought of the comments below. And I'll see you on the other side now for Heat, where we've got to repair the fucking ring. Again. Okay, so, if you would like a quick insight into how I currently feel about my women's roster and plans I've put in place for them, this episode of Heat exclusively features main roster talent in every single match beating one night call-ups from NXT. Because there was nobody that I wanted to beat on Heat. So, yeah. That's what we're living in. This timeline where there's not a woman on the roster that I want to... Well, there are a few that I could beat, but they're the same people I always beat like a drum. So I just gave them the week off and just, NXT night, I guess. Starting off with Kelsey Cook. She's in action against Carmen Petrovic. She wins in 7 minutes 41. 70 for Kelsey, 35 for Carmen. So yeah, 63. Nice little match there. Nice opening match to kick off Heat. I thought I'd click next. Apparently not. They get a 68 rated tag team match. Laney Reed and Kendall Gray. They step up to face Fierce and the Fabulous in tag team action. And it is Shayna and Carmella picking up the win. Shayna submitting Kendall with the Kirifuda clutch in 8:48. 72 for Carmella. 86 for Shayna Baszler. 20 for Laney Reed. 25 for Kendall Gray. And the plus side of putting these people on Heat is that the NXT people with like low pop like these will gain at least a pop or two from just appearing on Heat. So they'll be better off in NXT coming out of this, so it's fine. But yes, Fierce and the Fabulous picking up the win here tonight. After the match, we see Carmella and Shayna in the back, cooling down after their win. When Zoe Stark walks up to them. And she's like sarcastically clapping. Well, she's not. She's like genuinely clapping to start with. She goes, Shayna Baszler, the Queen of Spades. One of the most badass, dominant women in the history of WWE. You did it again out there. You put those NXT girls down. You let them know that the future of the women's division as it currently stands is in awful, awful hands. But people like you still give me hope, Shayna. And Shayna's like, thanks. And then Zoe goes, but as for your little friend here. And Carmella goes, bitch, what do you got to say? She goes, You are the embodiment of everything wrong with this women's division. Okay, you coming out there, you're the Fabulous to the Fierce. We don't need no Fabulous, okay? We just need fierce competitors. You go out there and you dance for these people, and you get by off being the pretty blonde girl. And you're holding back a legitimate killer in Shayna Baszler. Shayna just laughs and goes, yeah, well, we're a tag team. So if you've got a problem with her, you've got a problem with me. Now, scram out of my face. And so he goes, I'm just trying to make this division better. I'm trying to end people like her and let people like us thrive. If you don't want to see it that way, then I guess I was wrong about you. And so he just walks off and Shayna and Carmella just laugh and go, what the fuck was her problem, huh? 84? Jesus Christ. I knew Hayden Willis here would score pretty well. She thinks she's been in NXT for like nearly 5 years at this point in game. I signed her to NXT UK like within the first year of the save, and so I knew her stats were pretty good and her popularity is alright. But 78 in ring, she's really good. But like she's not somebody that is in plans at the minute. So I put her in there with Mackie. Mackie needed a win. I feel she lost to Jada last week, so her subbing in and getting a win this week to get some of her momentum back. Plus, I think she lost a fair bit of popularity to Jada, so just get her some wins back to help restock her popularity because she's on SmackDown now and she's in a relatively decently sized spot. Because I think I went over the Mackie Destiny stats stuff in a prior episode, but in case I didn't or you forgot, I went into the database when I was adjusting like that weird, competes against men and women in agenda shit like where Ospreay was going to Stardom and shit like that. And I was just searching by the Destiny stats of the people in the game. Maki's was like really high. She was like one of the highest people on my roster. I think. Listen to this group of people. The people in my game with the highest Destiny stats are Maki, Moose, and Omos. Well, the people on my roster, that is. And, you know, if you don't know TEW in depth, the Destiny stat is basically like... It's a random value they give every person at the start of every new save in the game. Which, like, adjusts, like, how their potential and shit, I believe. So, Maki's potential is sky high. And, you know, it's just a way to, like, make every game different. So, yeah. So that's why Maki, I've been spotlighting her in some decent roles. So, like, I want to really see, like, how she can get on in them roles. Because the game is telling me that she's got this high Destiny stat. And I have her as an Eternal mid-carder, which I love her in that role. You know, I can't imagine her not being here, but I never imagined her really moving beyond it. But I guess we'll see. We then cut back to Hams. She's still, like, aimlessly wandering around. You know, because she got abandoned by Jimmy Shane, but Shane Reynolds on ECW. And she's all alone now, and she walks into, like, some dark hallway where she hears sobbing of her own. And Hams sees Shotzi in there sobbing. And Shotzi looks up and goes, "What do you want?" She goes, "I'm lost. I have nobody. My friends, they abandoned me." Shotzi goes, "Yeah, well, that happens, okay? You had friends, they abandoned you. I thought I had friends, turns out I'm worthless. You know, people like us aren't really cut out for success. I've realized that at this point. I've just got to do something about it." A 74 rated main event. I should have put the Maki match on last, actually. Fucking Natsuki Sugita is scored the highest in this match. But it's Queen of Omega against two NXT Japan girls, Eureka Oka and Natsuki Sugita. Natsuki Sugita is Sayori Ano, who... I think that's how you pronounce her name anyway. Sayori, I just call her most of the time. And, you know, she's really good. Whenever I watch Stardom shows, like, I always watch her. I'm like, hey, yeah, she's really good. So if there was ever to be another Joshi on the main roster in this save, it would probably be her. But unless it's to partner with Aoi, I can't really justify that at this current moment in time. So I keep featuring her on Heat because she does really well and I like her. But Saya and Yoko, again, I feel like they eat too many pins because that's their role in the group. When they're in a stable with two main eventers and, you know, an undefeated giant mid-carder, then unfortunately that's going to happen, and I hate to do Saya like that specifically. So she gets the win here. Star Crusher on Eureka in 12:03. 70 for Yoko, 67 for Saya, 80 for Natsuki, and 52 for Eureka. So yeah, that ends Heat, which gets us 74. This somehow turned into an 8-minute recording yap sesh, because I did all that yapping about the Destiny stat and then yapping in there about fucking Sayori. But yes, what matters more is what you thought of the show, mainly of Raw. And that actually ends Raw's build to their first pay-per-view Backlash. A card which I actually think I've built quite a nice little card, a nice exciting little card for, given it was only really a 3-week build. But yes, that'll be the end of the week. First, we've got ECW and SmackDown to get through, the first being ECW next time. See you then.